Hallo zusammen and welcome to Schwitz, the podcast on YouTube. And today we are talking about modal verbs, Modalverben in High German and in Swiss German. Okay, welcome. Today we will talk about modal verbs, Modalverben in High German and Swiss German. What are we talking about? Exactly that. So we will start with High German because that's our base. And we will start off with a short story dialogue that is about sickness and a possible pregnancy. So if that's like a tricky topics for you, then maybe you want to skip this whole video because there is going to be a list of the modal verbs with examples from the text. And then we're going to use those examples to also look at how is it structured in a sentence. Okay, so like the whole video will like repeat the text. Then we will change to Swiss German, and we're going to look at the same story but in Swiss German, and we're also going to look at the modal verb and like the list also with examples from that text, the sentence structure in Swiss German from examples from that text. And then we're going to look at special case Switzerland or Swiss German, because we cannot do anything like the Germans do. Those sentences will be different, but most of the video will be with this dialogue. At the end, you get some exercises and some solutions for those exercises. So let's get started. So Modalverben im Hochdeutschen. So, whoa, that's a lot of text. Can you spot the Modalverben? Was? Du bist krank? Ich habe dir gesagt, du sollst Vitamin C nehmen. Es ist Erkältungssaison. Jetzt musst du viel Tee trinken und zu Hause bleiben. Ich muss gar nichts. Aber ich will morgen zum Doktor gehen. Ich bin jetzt seit 2 Wochen müde und muss mich immer übergeben. Ich weiß auch nicht. Vielleicht ist es ein Magen-Darm-Virus. Dann kann mir die Ärztin Antibiotika geben. Bei einem Virus darfst du keine Antibiotika nehmen. Die helfen nur bei einer bakteriellen Krankheit. Vielleicht musst du auch einen Schwangerschaftstest machen. Nein, das möchte ich nicht. Ich bin mir sicher, dass es eine Magen-Darm-Grippe ist. Mach mir keine Angst. Das mag ich gar nicht. Okay, that's a lot. Let me translate. I asked my friend, what? You're sick? I told you you should take vitamin C. It is Erkältung. The cold season, as in a season to get colds. Now you have to drink a lot of tea and you have to stay at home. Bleiben, stay. And then my friend would say, I have to do nothing. But I want to go to the doctor tomorrow. I have been tired for 2 weeks and I have to constantly throw up, vomit. I don't know. Maybe it is a belly virus. Then the doctor can give me antibiotica. Antibiotics, whatever, that one. You know what I mean. And then I would tell her, like, if you have a virus, you're not allowed to take antibiotica. They only help if you have a bacterial sickness. Maybe you also have to take a pregnancy test. And then my friend would say, no, I don't want that. I'm pretty sure that I have stomach flu. Don't make me angst. Don't scare me. I don't like that at all. Cool. So that's the text. So have you spotted the Modalverben? So for those ones that like have no clue what Modalverben are, let's look at them. Exactly. So let's look at them here. So du sollst Vitamin C nehmen. Sollst is the Modalverb. Jetzt musst du viel Tee trinken. Musst ist the Modalverb. Ich muss gar nichts, aber ich will morgen zum Doktor gehen. und muss mich immer übergeben, dann kann mir die Ärztin Antibiotika geben. Bei einem Virus darfst du keine Antibiotika nehmen. Musste gern und möchte ich nicht. Das möchte ich nicht. Ich bin mir sicher, dass es einer mag. Das mag ich gar nicht. Okay? Those are the modal verbs in the text. I should have highlighted them for you. Well, we're gonna get a list now. So wir haben müssen, können und wollen. Muss, do you remember musst? Ich will zum Doktor gehen und sie kann mir Antibiotika geben. Sollen, dürfen, mögen und möchten. Du sollst Vitamin C nehmen. Okay, let's translate. So müssen is to must, können to can, wollen to want, sollen to shall, dürfen to be allowed to, mögen to like and möchten to like. We'll look at them in a second. We have seen them in the sentences of du musst, jetzt musst du viel Tee trinken. Dann kann mir die Ärztin Antibiotika geben. Ich will morgen zum Doktor gehen. Du sollst Vitamin C nehmen. Bei einem Virus darfst du keine Antibiotika nehmen. Das mag ich nicht und das möchte ich nicht. And so the last two, mögen is more like, I like chocolate. I like to read. I like, things you like. I like to do sports. And möchten is more like, I would like a cup of coffee. I would like to go somewhere. I would like, what are your plans? What would you like to have, basically, if that makes sense. But in English, they're both to like, I'm sorry. So how to conjugate modal verbs? Well, it's a big table. We'll get through it. And we have already come across some of it. So maybe you want to pause it right now and take a screenshot or something, or write it down in your notes, however you work with it. I'm contemplating to sell you so that you can go and subscribe on Patreon, and then you can get all the slides from there. Let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in. Then you would have all of it already available. Okay, so we have seen ich muss. We've seen this from, I don't remember, but it's ich muss zum Doktor gehen or so. And du musst jetzt viel Tee trinken. Then we've seen sie, es, kann, ich will, du sollst, du darfst, ich mag, ich möchte. And now I'm gonna fill it out because technically you should already know all of this. You should have learned that already, but it is so ich and sie is identical. Wir and sie is identical with the infinitive. What else? Besides, so it's ich muss, du musst, sie, es muss, wir müssen, ihr müsst, sie müssen, ich kann, du kannst, er kann, können, möchten, können, könnt, ihr könnt, and so on. The exception here is the problem is möchte. And we can look at it later where it is the problem. Right now, it's important that it is a modal verb because ich and is ich möchte, möchte, sie möchte, es möchte, which is identical with each other. And that's why it's in this modal verb group because of that. Okay, I'm going to look at it in the structure, which is coming now, why it is a problem. Okay, this is a typical structure, from a German sentence. We have position 1, position 2, the middle, and the end. What does go on position 2? Almost always. The verb, correct. So position 2 is the verb, and at the end is the other verb, correct. And with modal verbs, we can see that. For example, if we start with a subject, du sollst Vitamin C nehmen. So the conjugated verb is the modal verb, du sollst, and then at the end is nehmen, which is in the infinitive, and that's another thing that modal verbs do. They need a second verb. I think it's the same in English, you shall take vitamin C. Yeah. So you know that structure already. It's just different that in German it goes all the way to the end because verbs can only be in position 2 or at the end. Okay, ich will morgen zum Doktor gehen. That's how it looks like when you start with the subject. Now we're going to look at when you start with something else. For example, jetzt musst du viel Tee trinken. So as regular as we know from German sentences, if something else is in position 1, then in position 2 still has to be the verb, and then the subject follows after the verb. Jetzt musst du viel Tee, and then at the end the verb trinken. Same with in different contexts. Dann kann mir die Ärztin Antibiotika geben. Bei einem Virus darfst du keine Antibiotika nehmen. And then the last one, mögen und möchten. Das mag ich nicht. Das möchte ich nicht. I don't like that, and I don't like to take a pregnancy test. I don't want to do that. And as you can see, those two are a bit special because you don't per se need a verb at the end. Not always. All the other ones, let's look at them. Müssen, können, wollen, sollen, dürfen all need a second verb. They do not work without it. Mögen und möchten very often work without a verb at the end. For example, ich möchte einen Kaffee trinken, haben. But you don't say that. You don't have to communicate that because it's pretty clear what you want. Ich möchte ein Stück Kuchen. Again, you don't need a second verb at the infinitive verb at the end. Ich mag Sport. There would be ich mag Sport machen. We're not saying those, and those ones are special. They conjugate like regular modal verbs, but they don't always need the verb at the end. That's why they're like extra. But hey, okay, cool. If you have watched so far and you like the content, please consider to subscribe and hit the bell and give it a thumbs up and all the good stuff. We are switching to Swiss German. Okay, let's look at it. We're going to have the same text in English. I'm not going to translate it again, but I'm going to read it to you out loud. Okay. Was? Du bist krank oder krank? Ich habe dir gesagt, du sollst Vitamin C nehmen. Es ist Erkältungssaison. Jetzt musst du viel Tee trinken und daheim bleiben. Ich muss gar nicht. Aber ich will morgen zum Doktor gehen. Ich bin jetzt seit 2 Wochen müde und muss mich immer übergeben. Ich weiß auch nicht. Vielleicht ist es ein Magen-Darm-Virus. Dann kann man die Ärztin Antibiotika geben. Bei einem Virus darfst du keine Antibiotika nehmen. Die helfen nur bei einer bakteriellen Krankheit. Ja, vielleicht musst du auch einen Schwangerschaftstest machen. Nein, das möchte ich nicht. Ich bin mir sicher, dass es eine Magen-Darm-Grippe ist. Mach mir keine Angst. Das mag ich gar nicht. Sicher begeistert. Okay. So it's the identical modal verbs in case you weren't sure. But we're going to look at it on a list. Okay, what do they exist and what do they mean? So müssen in High German becomes müsse in Swiss German. Können, High German, Swiss German, könne. Wollen, wolle. Sollen, solle. Dürfen, dürfe. Mögen, möge. Möchten, möchte. For example, jetzt musst du viel Tee trinken. Dann kann man die Ärztin Antibiotika geben. Ich will morgen zum Doktor gehen. Du sollst Vitamin C nehmen. Bei einem Virus darfst du keine Antibiotika nehmen. Das mag ich nicht. Das möchte ich nicht. That all looks very familiar, right? So like if you look at the High German and then you compare it to Swiss German, it shouldn't be like, crazy different. We're going to look at how to conjugate them. So those are the ones we already know, but we're going to go through it verb by verb. So those are the ones we will look at it. Okay, müssen is to must. You must do this. Is ich muss. Or if you're from the area of Zurich, it's muss. Ich muss noch einkaufen. Du musst. Also is muss or muss. Wir müssen heute Sport machen. Or again, if you're from the area of Zurich, then it's mehr Mühe. Ihr müsst, sie müssen. I'm not from Zurich, so that's why it looks a bit funny. Okay, können from to can. You can, I can. Ich kann oder ich kann. Swiss German is very flexible to use either K or CH sound. Ka, cha, same thing. Du kannst. Sie kann is cha. Wir können, and then it depends if you want to add a D on either of them. Wir können oder wir können. Wir können oder wir können. We're very flexible around there. Ihr könnt. Sie können. Wollen, to want. Ich will. Okay, this one is a bit more like spread. It really depends on who you're talking. I would say ich will, but the region Zurich would say either ich wett. Ich wett das Pony. Oder ich wott. Ich wott das Pony. Ich wott ein Kaugummi. You probably hear that a lot from children. Du willst, du wettst oder du wottst. Du willst, wettst oder wottst. And then again, ALC is identical. ALC will, wett, wott. Wir wollen, wir wettet. Wir wettet morgen einkaufen. Wir wettet morgen wandern. Ihr wollt, wettet und sie wollen. Okay. Sollen, to shall. Ich soll, du sollst, er soll, wir sollet, ihr sollet, sie sollet. Dürfen, to be allowed to, not to. Ich darf oder ich darf. I don't even know if that's like by region. I'm pretty sure that's just like, you know, whatever people feel for. There is not really a rule which one is correct. People just pick one. So ich darf, du darfst, du darfst, sie darf, es darf, wir dürfen, ihr dürfet, sie dürfen. Mögen, to like, ich mag, du magst, es mag. And then plural would be wir mögen. Wir mögen gehen einkaufen. Wir mögen Marvel. Aber das sagt fast niemand. Es ist viel häufig, almost nobody says that. It's way more common to say wir haben gern. Wir haben Marvel gern. Wir haben den Fritz gern. Also we like Marvel, we like Fritz, which is a person. Ihr habt gern und sie haben gern. And then möchte, ich möchte, du möchtest. Er möchte, wir möchten, ihr möchtet und sie möchte. That's that. I'm going to wait a second so you can screenshot this if you're not buying the slides. And then we continue. Whew, that was a lot. Okay, let me drink some. Some water, and we continue with the structure in the sentence. So the good news is it's like in High German. Ich will, position 2, morgen zum Doktor, go, verb at the end, the infinitive verb at the end. Yes, Swiss German has infinitives, and yes, they look different in High German. I know. Du sollst Vitamin C nehmen. Also, when you start with something else in the subject, yes, musst viel Tee trinken. Sometimes we drop the do I don't know if you have paid attention to that, but that happens sometimes. You could also say, jetzt musst du viel Tee trinken. But very often, if you're talking to do, we just drop it because we can, I guess. Dann kann man die Ärztin Antibiotika geben. Kann man in the text is connected. Very often, if the subject is after the verb, for plural, us, and for I, they get connected to the verb. Und bei einem Virus darfst, again, no du, kein Antibiotika nehmen. And the last one for the special ones, as I said, if it's in ich behind the verb, then it gets very connected, very often gets connected to the verb. Das mag ich nicht. Das möchte ich nicht. The I at the end is the subject. Ich. Okay? And then again, we have the same thing that like möchten and mögen don't per se need a second verb that's identical to High German. Whoop, whoop. So if you understood High German, then you understand the same structure in Swiss German. But because Swiss German cannot show, we of course have to have it in a special way. So let's read the wait a second. Okay, let's read the sentences and see where the modal verbs are and where they should be if it would be High German. So, ich habe gedacht, dass wir keine Hausi haben. I thought that we don't have Hausi as homework. Hausaufgaben, Hausi, homework. I thought we don't have to do homework. Wenn ich Gitarre kann spielen, bin ich am glücklichsten. When I can play the guitar, I'm the most happy. The happiest. Was machst du, wenn du nicht mehr arbeiten musst? What are you doing when you don't have to work anymore? Ich frage mich, ob mit mir in die Ferien will. I ask myself if he would like to come to a holiday with me, to a vacation. Okay, have you found the modal verbs? Müssen machen, kann spielen und muss arbeiten, will gehen. So let's compare that to High German. If this would be High German, ich habe gedacht, dass wir keine Hausi machen. Ich dachte, dass wir keine Hausaufgaben machen müssen. The das Satz goes to verb ans end. In the das sentence, the conjugated verb goes to the end because that's the only place where a verb can live. And in this case, that's a modal verb. So the modal verb in High German goes to all the way to the end. Ich dachte, dass wir keine Hausaufgaben machen müssen. And Swiss German doesn't like to follow those rules. So they change, they don't do that. They keep, in Swiss German, you keep the infinitive at the very end, and the modal verb in a subclause goes before the modal verb. Don't ask me why. It's probably like an older rule how people, even in Germany, used to talk, and then language probably evolved in High German, but not in Swiss German. And so the Swiss German is like the older version of that. If I understood my studies correct, that's how we learned it in university. That's how I've learned it at university. Maybe I understood something wrong, but that's how it will. You will go through the other sentences and you can see the same structure. Wenn ich Gitarre kann spielen, wenn ich Gitarre spielen kann, bin ich am glücklichsten. Kann, spielen kann. Was machst du, wenn du nicht mehr arbeiten musst? Wenn du nicht musst arbeiten. Ich frage mich, ob mit mir in die Ferien gehen will. Will go. It just is. So if the verb goes to the end in a High German subclause. Oh, I made a table for you. Okay. Then if in the High German sentence, the conjugated verb, the modal verb go all the way to the end, then in Swiss German, in the subclause, it's the other way around, only in a subclause. Let's look at it on a table. I love me some tables. So, ich habe gedacht, dass wir keine Hausi machen. Ich bin am glücklichsten, I had to like write that around so it fits the table, wenn ich Gitarre kann spielen. Was machst du, wenn du nicht mehr arbeiten musst? Ich frage mich, ob er mit mir in die Ferien will kommen. Or go, same thing. As you can see, at the very end are still the infinitives. And on the second to last is the modal verb. It does not go behind the infinitive, how it would in High German. And that's that. In Nebensätzen kommt das Modalverb zuerst und dann das Infinitiv am Ende. In a subclause, the modal verb comes first and the infinitive at the very end. Ta-da! But at least that rule is pretty consistent. So okay. Well, pretty consistent. The thing is, you can say, or you might hear, ich had gedacht, dass man Husi müssen machen, but Swiss people can say, ich had gedacht, dass man keine Husi machen müssen. Sometimes they say it correctly, like the Germans would. That's just how it is. And the same, ich bin am glücklichsten, wenn ich Gitarre spielen kann. Ich bin am glücklichsten, wenn ich Gitarre kann spielen. And sometimes it's even somewhere else. Ich bin am glücklichsten, wenn ich Gitarre spielen. So, if you're trying to produce Swiss German, if you're trying to speak Swiss German, then just go with either the modal verb all the way to the end, because as you can see, it is correct. Those sentences are all correct, all four of them in Swiss German. If you're a bit more advanced, and then you can, if you can remember, oh, subclause, what about the end? Swiss German, do it the other way around, then do that. If you're quote unquote only hearing Swiss German, then just pay attention to ka, muss, will, and where they are in the sentence is like not that important. As long as you understand that someone is trying to communicate, like, you know, I have to, I want to, you are not allowed to. Those things are more important than where they are in the sentence. Okay? Okay. Cool. Okay. We made it. We're at the exercises. Okay. Those are like basically A1 because I'm already giving you the modal verb you're supposed to exercise. So ideally you have a screenshot of the table, how to conjugate them, and in another window you have the exercises so you can fill it in. Ich heute noch Tusi machen. Müssen. Du musst Tabelle schreiben. Sie noch kein Alkohol trinken, sie ist erst 15. Man auf den Chef warten, kommt gerade. Was? Ihr keine Hunde? Meine Kinder sind zwar mega müde, aber sie noch nicht ins Bett. I have to do my homework today. You can write the table tomorrow, the template, whatever. She is not allowed to drink alcohol yet. She is only 15 years old. We shall wait for the boss. He is coming in a second. What? You don't like dogs? In plural, like another couple or so. My kids are still a bit tired. No, wait. My kids are very tired, but they still don't want to go to bed. That's that. Yeah. Then A2. Here you have to find which modal verb is fitting and you have to conjugate it. Am Wochenende ins Kino. Heute bis am 5 Uhr arbeiten. Sie Schweizerdeutsch lernen, weil ihre Frau aus der Schweiz kommt. Sie mir bitte helfen. Wir hier nicht rauchen. Im Sommer mal nach Mexiko. Wir lieben Tacos. Ich nicht gut schwimmen. No worries, you will get the solutions to that. Oh, that all means at the weekend, go to the cinema, go to the movies. I don't know. he work today till 5 p.m. She learns Swiss German because her wife is from Switzerland. You please help me. You as a one to smoke here. In summer, in summer we want to go to Mexico. We love tacos, and I swim well. Okay, good luck. And then the last we have B1. You have parts of the sentence and you have to arrange it. And I think the modal verb is already conjugated in the right tense. Yeah, I'm not going to translate them just now. I'm going to translate them once we're at the solutions. Okay, good luck. And then here are the solutions. Ja, just, ich muss heute noch Tusi machen. Du kannst morgen Tabelle schreiben. Sie darf oder darf noch kein Alkohol trinken, sie ist erst 15. Wir sollen auf den Chef warten, er kommt gerade. Was? Ihr mögt keine Hunde. What? You don't like dogs? Und meine Kinder sind zwar mega müde, aber sie wollen wettet. Noch nicht ins Bett. Tada! A2. Am Wochenende will ich ins Kino. There's only one I. Will ich ins Kino. Er muss heute bis um 6 Uhr arbeiten. Sie will, muss Schweizerdeutsch lernen, weil ihre Frau aus der Schweiz kommt. Können Sie mir bitte helfen? Man darf da nicht rauchen. Im Sommer, wenn man wettet, nach Mexiko, man lieber Tacos und ich kann nicht gut schwimmen. Oh, it helps if you go in the right direction. Okay, so let me translate you. Here are the solutions, plus I'm translating it to you. Entschuldigung, wissen Sie, ob man hier darf parkieren? And alternatively, Entschuldigung, wissen Sie, ob man hier parkieren darf? Sorry, do you know, formal, if one is allowed to park here? Kannst du mir helfen? Ich weiß nicht, was ich soll machen. Kannst du mir helfen? Ich weiß nicht, was ich machen soll. Both is correct. Can you help me? I don't know what I shall do. Und ich hoffe, dass ich nicht so lange muss warten. Ich hoffe, dass ich nicht so lange warten muss. Again, both is correct. And it means I hope that I don't have to wait too long. And that's all for today. If you watched it till the end, till you're here, congratulations. Good job. Please consider subscribing and giving the video a thumbs up and ringing the bell and all the good things. I'll see you soon. I hope you learned a little bit. Take care. Bye. Tschüss. Ciao. Ciao, ciao.